It is a really big aspect of our lives, and it never stops. Almost 2 decades ago, we knew this was coming. But exactly how big of a problem is it? Well, I'm David Rimkus, and I'm here to explain how the distraction of a mobile device affects us in our daily lives. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, do you see this as a good thing or a bad thing? Well, I will show you both sides. Even though a device can be distracting, it can also be useful at the same time. In the classroom, the teacher wants to make sure you're looking at lectures and not tweeting or catching Pokemon. If you do less of that and more of what the teacher tells you to do, there will be less worries about low grades and other technical difficulties. Now, you may be familiar with what the world was like before when we didn't have what there is today. A long time ago, in a decade far, far away, the 1970s, when there were no cell phones, no internet, and home video had yet to catch on. The Cold War was nearing its end, and we received news from those types of events only from the television or newspapers. And on television, there were popular shows such as MASH, Happy Days, and Little House on the Prairie. And video games had just been invented, and eventually started to gain more attention, and it later increased with the popularities of video game consoles such as Nintendo, PlayStation, and Wii. As more people began to have personal computers, they allowed more games, and especially educational ones. And this makes a good learning environment for our youth. And now look at us, here in the present. We have these things in the palm of our hands, known as smartphones, tablets, and apps. They're available to us anytime, anywhere. We're now more connected than ever before. And I feel bad for anyone who went to a coma and woke up 20 or 30 years later having no idea what an iPhone is. Oh, poor guy. Now, our social behavior today is, for sure, a lot different than way back then. We have transformed from engaging with the world to screen-glued zombies. This has a big impact on society. It's affecting our bodies, behavior, social interactions, and relationship with God. How is that so, you ask? Well, I'll explain all that the best I can. Now, one of the biggest concerns, specifically for mothers, is how their toddlers are using their devices for games, etc. Thus, their brains are wired differently. And when physically being too attached to a mobile device, it may cause eye strain, less sleep, and less exercise. Kind of like the guy with the earbuds. And instead of tennis elbow, we now get carpal tunnel syndrome from tapping our phones too much. And being distracted by mobile devices also causes students to waste time when they should be doing homework or studying for an exam. And it gets scarier when getting into a car crash. Oof, ouch is right. All because of a simple noise coming from a simple device. As you can see here, people are using their phones for social interactions instead of talking to one another. And yes, this is also the case for God. I saw the connection when I came across a source I found on how technology is affecting the church. It appears that when people attend church, they want to look on their phones for answers and not to the preacher. This just doesn't feel right. I know using a device is a quicker way to look for answers, but going to a preacher is a more healthy way. This is just like in school, how when students are spending more time online than approaching their teacher or a counselor when they have questions or problems. So, as you can see, people have a love-hate relationship with their mobile devices. Whether we get distracted, have ourselves entertained, or interact with a friend, it will always be in the palm of our hands. And who knows what the future will have in store for us. It's something that we worry and get excited about every day. Is this something we can stop? Well, no, because it's uncontrollable. The most important thing to remember is to live life in the real world, not the virtual world of mobile devices.